Hi, this is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am very excited to welcome a very special guest to our call today, Morry. Now, Morry has been researching and studying the effects of sounds and tones on mental state for well over 20 years. And after undergoing extensive training, he became one of the few certified brainwave entrainment engineers in the world. Morry is the creator of a new proprietary technology which uses sound to evoke certain brainwave states that help the listener experience truly beneficial results. In fact, the Morry method was recognized by the Brazilian government and a Brazilian university in a major independent study, which has resulted in further recognition of his proven method. Morry helps people to increase their brain power, enhance concentration and enthusiasm, while reducing stress and anxiety. His clients all across the world have learned how to easily master their mind power and completely transform their lives, simply, automatically, and effortlessly. On today's call, you will discover how to remove the root cause of all of your problems and frustrations. You'll discover how your brain works and the simple states that you must achieve in order to maximize your life. You'll find out how you can change your self-image from inadequate to fantastic. And finally, you'll find out the hidden truth about self-improvement. So, Morry, I'm so excited to have you here with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks so much for having me. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here.
I'm thrilled to be able to share you with everybody. You know, we're here talking about Manifest Everything Now. Your Morry method, I've been using it for a while now. I just love it. So this is why I'm really, really excited to be able to share you. So could you go back and share a little bit of your story, you know, help us find out more about you and maybe some of the turnarounds you experienced in your life where, you know, that has allowed you to manifest the amazing life that you have now?
It would be my pleasure. I've had an interesting life. I'm 50 years old now, and I'd say for 2/3 of my life, I wanted to be dead. I really felt lousy. Ever since I could remember, I had thousands and thousands of voices in my head. Now, this isn't the Hollywood representation of voices where, you know, you hear things going on and you understand words and things. It's kind of like you're at a rock concert or a sporting event, and you just hear thousands and thousands of people talking all at the same time. It's more like a din. You don't really recognize words. It just sounds like talking. And the scary thing is, it was about at the volume of my voice right now. And I'd be hearing this every waking moment. In the beginning, I thought this is how everybody lived. But as I started getting older and more aware, I realized that this is only me, and it got harder and harder to live my life. I ended up realizing relatively recently that this spat of horrible things that kept happening to me, I kept getting injured. I've dislocated each of my shoulders hundreds of times, separations. I've broken my nose multiple times. I've had concussions, cracked ribs, broke my ankle in something like 30 places, dislocated my knee, broke my kneecap. I mean, I could go on and on and on with all the different injuries that I've had. I ended up realizing that this was me either punishing myself or trying to hurt myself, or worse yet, maybe even trying to kill myself. And it wasn't working. I would just keep bringing myself into worse and worse places. As I got older and more intelligent, I realized that if I can't figure out a way to die, I had to figure out a way to live. And that's where all of this comes in. I started a very large mission, if you will, looking and looking and looking for all kinds of things that might be able to help me to cope better, to be happy, you know, to actually be happy with my life. I see people smiling, so I knew that it was possible. I just couldn't smile myself. I was very poor in school, didn't do very well at all, went home crying to my mom and dad that I didn't have any friends, and yet I didn't make any effort to have friends. It was almost like I was sabotaging myself at every turn. Eventually, after trying everything, literally everything that's out there, from energy protocols to electronics to this to that to spiritual to medicines to pills and chemicals, I came across something called Brainwave Entrainment. And this was through, you know, my research, because I became a researcher through all of this. You know, when you're living life so poorly and you make up your mind that there's got to be something better, you really put a lot of energy into your research. And I came across entrainment. And the cool thing about entrainment was, in the research at least, was that it affects your brain regardless of what your belief systems are. So you don't have to believe in it for it to work. I loved that. I've tried meditation, can't tell you how many times, and I always end up the same way. Am I doing this right? Is it supposed to feel like this? Am I supposed to feel something? You know, you end up questioning yourself, or I ended up questioning myself so much, I couldn't get anywhere. So naturally, I started buying every kind of Brainwave entrainment program or software package I could find. Funny thing was, none of them did anything for me. And that really bothered me because I kind of felt like entrainment was maybe my last hope. I didn't give up, though. I felt that if it wasn't working for me, it's because maybe they're just not doing it right. And I dug deeper, and I ended up finding the world's leading researcher in this field, and he has been at this point now for over 30 years, called him, got personally trained by him, and I can tell you that the first time I listened to his work, the voices stopped, and they have never come back.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing, you know, when you're used to hearing all this loud noise all the time, to hear nothing, it's almost a little scary because it's different, you know. And the bottom line was that, you know, everything else that I had learned, you know, about hypnosis, about meditation, about subliminals, about this, about that, I realized that I started putting it all together. And as I was using the entrainment, I was also putting it in conjunction with all these other modalities that I had learned how to do. And by combining everything together, it's turned me around. You know, I used to have what I call my hallmark greeting saying, and it goes something like this: life is a disease for which there is no cure but death. That's how I lived most of my life, believing that.
Wow.
And when I started doing this and putting it together, I can tell you that now I don't remember the last time I had a negative thought.
That's amazing.
Well, you know what? If you knew what's been going on in my life the last year, you'd really say that's amazing.
Wow.
And it's just, it inspired me to get off my rear end. I had a bunch of go-nowhere jobs that paid me nothing, and try to share this with other people because of the pain that I went through. I couldn't imagine other people going through it. You know, it's kind of like how it is with all of us. You know, you feel a pain and you're happy your loved ones don't feel it because you can't imagine them dealing with it. The truth is, the human being is an amazing animal, and we can deal with anything that we're dealt. And, you know, your loved ones could deal with what you've dealt with too. But why should they have to? And that became my mission. Why do other people have to suffer the way I did? Why should it take them 30-odd years, 35 years, 40 years to reinvent the wheel, so to speak? The system had to get out. I shared a recording with a gentleman whose list I was on, much like yours. He told me how much my sample recording helped him, and I was sending it to him as a thank you. I wasn't even trying to do a business out of this. I just wanted to help people. And he said, you know, Morry, there's a lot of people that you can help with this. Let's talk, let's get together, and let's create something that we can share with the world. And that's basically my story in a nutshell.
Wow, I love that. And I love that that is your motivating force, is literally the fact that, you know, you went through this, you went through this immense pain, and you finally discovered something that worked, and so you want to share it with as many people as possible. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have to be, you know, what if you're like, you know, you're kind of good? Will this still... you know,
actually, that's a really good question. You know, in my business, I get a lot of people who aren't kind of good, but it's kind of interesting you would ask that, because yesterday I got a call from a young lady in California who told me, you know, my life is terrific. I earn lots of money. I have lots of guys vying for my hand, so to speak. My parents were terrific to me. I've got great health. I just want to grow and expand my consciousness. Will your system help with that? And I said, the beauty of my systems are that it doesn't matter what it is you need. You know, I have a whole bunch of testimonials, and not one of them sounds like another one, because the system is designed to, it's really designed to take advantage of you. What that means is that every person is unique, and every person, if they have an issue, also has a solution. Nature works on a basis of homeostasis. It's balance. Everything is always balanced. If you have a problem, inside you somewhere, there's also a solution. You don't see it because you're focused on the problem. The entrainment helps to remove those blockages and allows you to get what's within you out. So, Kristen, if you needed, say, to balance your emotional response, okay, then that's likely the result and the benefits that you would get from using the system. If someone else needed, say, to be able to drive with more patience, not swear and finger everybody who drives by them, then that's likely what they would get. I think that there's a bit of an inherent problem in the self-improvement industry in that well-meaning people think they know what your problem is, and then they know what your solution is. The problem with that is you can go see a psychiatrist for 20 years and they can't figure you out.
Right.
So how is a stranger going to do that? Yeah. My systems are based on you are your only guru. So that means all my mission isn't to tell you what's wrong with you. It isn't to tell you how to fix yourself. All it is to help you to unlock that inner wisdom within yourself, and also to help you to generate that energy that's needed to then follow through on the information that you will now be gaining access to. So my mission is actually pretty simple. It's really up to you to make the changes in your life. And when you use these systems, that's exactly what's happening. You're using a tool. How many people, when they build a house, show their friends and go, hey, look at what this hammer built? Right?
That's great.
Of course, they don't. They say, look what I built. So how come is it when they come across someone in the self-improvement field who's helped them, much like a hammer helped the carpenter, they say, oh, look at what so-and-so did for me. Look at what Joe did for me. Look at what Steve did for me. Look what Alice did for me. It's not what they did for you. All we can do, people like you and I, Kristen, is to help people with ideas and concepts. It's up to them to listen, see if they resonate, and then take action, which means any benefits they get come from them. They should be patting themselves on the back, not us. Anyway, that's my...
No, I completely agree. You know, I said to someone the other day, I said, look, I feel like it's my job. If I'm standing in a room and I can see where the light switch is, it's for me to keep saying, hey, look, is that a light switch? Is that a light switch? You know, it's ultimately going to be, you know, up to, and it might be that it's the 10th time that I say it and that inflection that makes you go, that's a light switch, but then you're ultimately the one that turns on the light. So yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. Okay, so I want to ask you about this because everybody here, we've talked about the law of attraction. What's the law of awareness?
Okay. I think the law of attraction was made popular by the movie The Secret.
Yes.
And I think it's a great movie, and I think it's helped a lot of people to look within and move forward in their lives. But I think the law of attraction is more of a touchstone phrase than an accurate stating of reality. It isn't so much the law of attraction. It's not that you attract things to you. It's that you notice things. If you're looking for the other shoe to drop, if you're looking for bad things to happen, you will always notice bad things happening because that's what you're looking for. I believe that there's good things, there's bad things, there's neutral things, there's fantastic things, there's horrible things. All these things are always around us, and they're in the realm of possibility. And if you turn left, you go in one direction. If you turn right, you go in another. If you turn up, you go in another and down. That's how your choices are made. So it really comes down to the law of awareness. If you change your mindset to looking for or becoming aware of good things, then you will magically start seeing good things in your life. The human experience is kind of weird because what we'll do is we will assume that we've attracted these good things into our life. In reality, we've just noticed them. I'd like to ask you and anyone who might be listening, how many times you've run around your house looking for your car keys or your glasses or sunglasses, only to find after 15 minutes of frustration that you had them in your hand the whole time or you were wearing them.
Perfect example.
Okay? That's my point. It's awareness. It's not a matter of attraction. It's a matter of what you become aware of. That's something else that the system helps to do. It helps you to become more aware of what's real as opposed to what we are inventing in our minds and then manifesting, because all we're doing is looking for bad things, so that's what we're noticing. You know, if I'm out of work, and believe me, I've been out of work enough times, it's easy to blame my boss who fired me. It's very easy to blame the government for their crappy economic policies. It's very easy to blame my wife or my kids or God or the universe, right? Because when I do that, I'm taking all the responsibility away from myself. But worse, I'm taking away my own ability to change things, because the truth is you disempower yourself when you blame other people. When you realize that it's really a matter of where you're focusing your attention that's keeping you from being happy, then that is a real magical transformation that occurs, because all of a sudden you have all the power in the universe. You look at your life and you say, boy, my life sucks. I must be really powerful.
Look at what I did. Yeah.
Look at what I did. I am like so strong. It's amazing. So now I'm always turning left. Well, you know what? Now I'm going to turn right.
I love that.
And let's see what happens. And I've seen so many lives turn around. You know, since I started trusting my instinct instead of my intellect on decision making, since I've understood this concept of now, which I guess we can get into after, but also the whole reality of how the world really works, that it's what you look for is what you find. My life has been completely, magically different, miraculously so, really. And it's all because of an attitude shift. That's all. The world didn't change.
I was going to say, I love that. You're right. The world didn't change around you. It's your perception of the world changed. And
and all of a sudden, I had opportunity where I had only hell.
Right. Yeah. So that's fantastic, because you know it's some people will go, oh well, that sounds so simple, and it is that simple. Making that decision to shift your reality sometimes is, I think, where people get held up. What would you say, because we said we would share this with people, what would you say is the root cause to problems and frustrations that could be blocking us from manifesting what we desire as opposed to what we don't?
Our belief systems and expectations play a very large role in that. It comes down to what we're noticing and what we choose to notice. You know, I've been married now for a short while, but I've been with the same girl for almost 4 years. And it's pretty much the first time in my life where I haven't wanted to fake my own death after 3 months in a relationship. You know, and the secret is I choose to be happy rather than choosing to be right. So I think what people need to do is not be so argumentative with themselves and others. Choose to be happy. Like, really make that intellectual choice and emotional choice to be happy. And then they will see that there will be things and opportunities that will come up. You know, we don't realize how responsible we are for our own circumstances and how we feel.
Right.
When you change the way you look at something, when you change how you interpret things, the biggest problem is that we assume we know what's going on around us. But in reality, we've just made up a storyline that we're following. And we assume that we have no control over it because we've bought into that storyline. The truth is, you can create any storyline you want. Look, I was horribly in debt. No future. My parents were worried that they're not going to live forever, because how is their poor son going to live? You know, 8 years ago, I was making $300 a month. My Visa bill alone was an interest of $800.
Jeez.
This stuff is real. And it's all because my mind changed. You know, I remember driving in a car an ex-girlfriend gave me. It was a real beat-up box, okay, which I will always consider my favorite car because it lasted as long as it needed to last for me. But I would drive by and I'd see women or men driving Mercedes or BMWs or occasional Bentley. And I'd look over and I would think they're such bad people. You know, my first thought, how many people did you have to step on to get this car? Was it a surprise that I was poor?
No.
Right? I related money to being something evil and made someone a bad person. all of a sudden, after using this, when I had spoken to Song and we were going through some stuff and I started, deciding that it's time now to share this with the world, all of a sudden one day, because I was listening regularly then, I looked out and I saw this woman with a really beautiful, chiseled face and diamond earrings, and she was driving a Mercedes. And my first thought was, good for you.
There you go.
From that moment on, everything started changing financially for me.
I love that. I love that. Now, here's my question for you, because
Sure.
And we were just talking about this. We were just saying, boy, you can look, once you realize how powerful you are, you can look and go, wow, my life sucks. Look at how powerful I am. How do you, and I completely agree with you. I mean, we're so in alignment on all of this stuff, but I want to find out how, because this is something that comes up a lot from the people listening. I get a lot of emails from people saying, that's great. I realize how powerful I am, but then I get stuck judging myself or feeling badly for the negative reality I've created. So how do you get out of that?
Okay. The trick is resistance. Okay? When we fight against something, we create a state of resistance. The problem with resistance is it keeps us from moving forward. Resistance is good when you're driving a car because it offers traction and your tire sticks to the road better. But in life, it doesn't work that way. So what I will often tell people is, if you're down or depressed, spend an hour every day on YouTube looking at videos that make you giggle. Now, if you're depressed because money is tight or you're not feeling well or something, I don't tell you to go out and, do a bunch of stuff that affirms the opposite. In other words, that I feel better and blah, blah, blah. I say just go out and do it. So you're not creating resistance when you're not trying to fight against something. What you are doing, though, is you're reprogramming the way you think. Because you're actually laughing, you're giggling, you're taking a break from your troubles, if you will. So what is important to do is, it's easy to intellectually know that I shouldn't be thinking the way I'm thinking because
Right.
I'm not allowing myself to be happy. And it is more difficult to change that way of thinking. But you know what isn't difficult? Simply doing other things. Because if you want tomorrow to be different from today, do something different today. It's really that simple. All you need to do is realize that the way you are now, the way you think now, is born from habit. It's born from repetition, whether that's repetitive thoughts, repetitive actions. Often it's both. So if you start making a habit for yourself of repeating other things, in other words, positive things perhaps, things where you're actually getting joy out of life, then you'll be surprised how fast your internal thinking changes too. You don't look for and create all this badness, if I can use such a professional word, your life. It's a matter of practice. The real secret in my mind, and I would have come out with a book called The Real Secret, but it would have had one page and it would have had one word. Practice. Because that's the ultimate tool. Everything bad in your life, if you have anything bad in your life, is the result of you practicing negative thinking patterns, negative actions, negative this, negative that. So why not use the exact same method that got you where you are to get you to where you want to be? Because you already know it works. Look at how miserable you are. Right? So now repetition is the trick. That's the word, practice. Practice makes perfect. Most of us were taught that when we were kids. It's true in every aspect of your life. If people bother to pay attention, if I were to ask you, Kristen, how many times have you had a negative thought today?
Okay.
So answer the question.
I would not have an answer for you.
Okay. Most people would say 3 or 4 times. That's been my experience.
Okay.
Every time that you've been aware you've had a negative thought or you've said a negative statement, like I can't do this or something, chances are that you've actually had between 100 and 1,000.
Wow.
Okay? But we're so used to it, we don't even pay attention anymore.
Right.
It's like ask a cigarette smoker how many cigarettes they remember smoking. They can't look in their pack to count. Most
Right.
cigarette smokers will remember smoking 4 or 5 cigarettes. They maybe smoked 40 or 50.
Right. That makes sense. That makes complete
We are not aware of how important that this repetition, that this practice is. So because it's so successful at causing us pain in our lives, why not use it for a force for good instead?
Right. And we're already doing it. We're already doing the practice, because I know a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, no, it's hard and it's going to take up so much time. You're already doing the practice, right?
Yeah, just change the content. That's all.
I love that. Okay, now is this, I know you talk about directed manifestation. Does this all fall within that concept?
Yes, definitely. When we do anything that we do with intention, that will direct whatever manifests for you. If your intention is to help people in your career, then you will end up in a career that is helpful to people.
Interesting.
If your intention is to help people in their retirement, then you'll likely end up in a business or a career that helps people, whether it's helping the elderly with home care or maybe with financial planning or something else. But your intention is what governs the direction that your energy will end up manifesting itself for you with.
I see. So would you say that, what's one of the first things that we can do in order to start practicing directed manifestation? Is it to decide on our intention?
Yeah, a good idea would be to sit down and make a list of what makes us happy.
Okay.
That would be the first thing. And don't worry about anything else. Just what makes you smile, what makes you giggle. Maybe watching a kitten play with a ball of wool makes you happy. Maybe watching a young boy helping an old person across the street puts a smile on your face. Maybe driving down the street in a Ferrari Testarossa makes you happy. It doesn't matter. You should not judge what you're thinking of here. Just write down everything that makes you happy, period. Then look at the list and let your mind wander and just see what comes up. And then write down little notes. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, and all these things. And eventually, much like a puzzle, you'll start discovering what your true passions are. A lot of people have a problem because they don't really know what their passion is. They think money is a passion. Money isn't a passion. A lot of people think when I have my first million, I'll finally be there. I'll be happy. There's a lot of very wealthy people who are not happy.
True.
Okay, so it's more important for you to be happy. So I tell people, look, drill down. When you say you want something, ask yourself, why do I want it? Why do I want that new iPhone 5 that's supposedly coming out? Is it because it has some wonderful things that's going to make my life easier? Is it because I'm being conned by really good marketing? Is it because my friend has the iPhone 4 and I can brag that I have the iPhone 5? Ultimately, when you get down to anything, why you want something, it's because you want to feel good, you want to be happy, you want to be joyous, you want to be content. That's the bottom line for everything. So instead of working your whole life to acquire things, work your whole life with the intention to be happy. And then keep your eyes open along the way, because things will happen that will allow you, once you follow them, to be happy. Don't follow those golden gooses that, marketers throw out in your face. Follow your heart. And the only way to follow your heart is to trust what comes into your head, your heart, and your gut all at the same time. If you want to do something and all three of those areas agree, they feel comfortable, at ease, then you should do it. If one of them is out of phase with what you want to do, odds are you don't really want to do it. It's a thought maybe that was put into your head by others. So it's really important, because it's so important for me that you're happy. I kind of look at us all like cells of the body. So every single human being, Kristen, I've known you for years. I've never met you in person. However, you, myself, everybody who will ever listen to this call, we're all part of the same being.
Right.
And if I could get myself small enough, I could go into my own hand and not see one cell next to the other. That's how it is. We're not held together with glue. We're actually held together with a magnetic field. And there's lots of space in reality between all of our cells. So is it so hard to believe that you and I are part of the same being? Well, I'm a selfish guy, Kristen. I want to be happy, and I want to be healthy. So if I'm selfish and I want to be happy and I want to be healthy, then I'm part of the same being that you are and everybody else is, then I have to do everything I can to try to help all of you be happy.
Oh, that's great.
Because if all of you are happy, let's say you're a little happier tomorrow than today, and everyone who listens to this call is a little bit happier tomorrow than today, I will feel better tomorrow too. Because I'm part of the same union, the same instrument, the same individual of quote-unquote mankind.
Absolutely. You know, I love that you said really go for happy. Live for happy first. You know, and everybody who's listened to all of these calls with me knows that, you know, we're talking about manifest everything now. I think stuff is great. I love stuff, but it's the emotion first. It's go for happy first, and you will be shocked at how much stuff just appears for you.
Yeah. It'll be the stuff you want, you really want. Not the stuff you buy, feel good about for 10 minutes and never look at again.
Exactly. This is completely in alignment with, you know, all that I've been, you know, questing to impart to people so far, which is, yeah, the stuff is great. That's awesome. I like money. I like, you know, a nice car. I love that stuff, but happy first, because otherwise you're not going to find that fulfillment from it that you're hoping to. And if you're happy first, then that's all just like, you know, the icing on the cake. So I love that you said that. That's fantastic. Let me ask you this, because you said that, you know, you're going to sort of explain how our brains work and the simple states that we must achieve in order to maximize our life. Is that happiness?
Well, happiness is a way to get there.
Okay.
But you see, the way the world is designed now, there's a lot of stress. There's stress from the possibility of war, pollution, drugs, chemtrails. I mean, there's everything under the sun that could hurt you. So we're always on this state of red alert. The human body is actually designed, and the human mind is designed, to be in regular states. What that means is, for at least, 10, 15, 20 minutes, to be in a stable state of being. The way our lives are, our brain waves are all over the place, and they're always all over the place. The unique thing about your brain is it not only controls everything, but it also releases things called neurotransmitters, endorphins, and hormones. And all of these things have a great deal to do with how you feel, how you react, and how you act. Energy levels, things like that. It has tons to do with all of these things. So when you consider the fact that your brain likely never has much of an opportunity to be calm and stable in any kind of a dominant state for any appreciable period of time, like more than, say, a minute, and even that would be a lot for most people, then you can understand that your body is simply not getting the natural production of naturally produced by your body hormones, endorphins, and neurotransmitters. All of these things are necessary to life. They're necessary to a fulfilled life. They're necessary to a happy life. And they're necessary to your health, too. So when you use a system that uses properly engineered entrainment, like mine, you give yourself that Kit Kat break, the one you see on TV all the time where people just sit back and they bark. You give your brain that kind of a break. And you actually allow it the opportunity to achieve a natural state. What people need to understand is these things, these recordings that I create and systems, they do not create supernatural states for you. They do not create paranormal states for you. Okay? They create natural states. We live our lives in abnormal states all the time. What I've designed helps you to get back to what nature wants you to do. That's why so many people come back to me with, oh boy, that is just so, nice. I feel so good. I lose track of time. I don't have a problem that I used to have. and I thought I'd always have it. What's going on? You know, people don't even understand how to feel normal anymore. And when they do feel normal, the way you should feel, at peace, relaxed, calm, joyous, when you feel like that, that feels supernatural to them because they're not used to it. But when you use these kinds of systems on a regular basis, that's how you end up living your life in these states. I mean, most of my time is spent in a blissful meditation, even when I'm not listening. That's what it's all about. You need to achieve these states because without these natural states, it's very, very difficult to truly be happy and to achieve any kind of joy in your life. And with these recordings, you actually train your brain to be able to achieve these states. So with regular use over time, you'll find, for instance, we're talking. One of the tricks with me is I notice my toes, my fingertips, top of my head get kind of light and tingly. Mm-hmm. Okay? For the last 5 minutes that we've been talking, my whole body is in that state right now. Just talking about it. I'm not listening to any of my tones.
Huh. Wow,
learn
cool.
how to do these things again. They're natural. I believe there was a time in our human evolution where we were all like this anyway, without the aid of my recordings, because obviously they didn't have digital, recording software back then, 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. But I believe that all I'm doing is taking your brain back to a healthful, natural state that because of all the pressure, because of how fast society moves, we just don't have an opportunity to experience naturally anymore. So what I do is I take advantage of a natural process in your brain called the frequency following response, which essentially says the neurons, which are your brain cells, will pulse at a similar frequency to the one that you expose it to if that frequency is designed the right way. So my recordings are designed the right way. Your brain follows the frequency, and because it does, it goes back into that natural state. And you actually get to be more human, if you will, and less of the stressed automaton that society likes to create.
So how is this different than, God, you see brain entrainment stuff everywhere. So how is this different?
Well, first of all, the science behind it is valid. There's a lot of programs out there that will let you create your own entrainment, and I'm glad it doesn't work because it's kind of dangerous. It's irresponsible to give someone a gun if you don't first teach them how to use a gun. So I'm kind of happy their stuff doesn't work in that case. There are some well-meaning people who just don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of physiological and biological things to do with your psychology, with your brain's neurochemistry, neurology. You need to have an understanding of in order to create entrainment that can truly make a difference. When you listen to music, there might be some forms of music that make you happy and energized and other forms that make you want to pick up an axe and chop the stereo to pieces. So it gives you an idea of how powerful sound can be. Now, when you get down to entrainment, you're actually affecting the brain in a much stronger way. And it's really important that you know what you're doing. For instance, there's a lot of companies out there that mix different forms of entrainment together. They love putting in the sounds of like rain or Tibetan bowls or chanting or anything like that.
Right.
That to me is evidence that these people really don't have a clue what entrainment is about, because for entrainment to work, the ear hears a sound. It doesn't actually hear a sound. It senses a vibration. The vibration gets translated to a sound as it gets interpreted in the brain. But what happens is, imagine hearing a tone like this. Ba, 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 ba. Now assume that that was a tone at 7 hertz, which means 7 times per second. If that was stable and steady, your ear would be sending a small electric current to your brain, which would then be producing electric currents within the neurons, which would be mimicking that 7 hertz or 7 times per second tone. That is a theta wave. That would create endorphins and neurotransmitters and the like that would be related to theta and give you the benefits of such. Now imagine you have ringing bowls and bells and chimes and whistles and all these other things going on, birds chirping. Well, now when your brain is hearing the tones, it's also hearing all these other things. So it's also producing a signal neuronally into the brain, which is actually masking and getting in the way of the entrainment aspect.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's a major no-no when it comes to entrainment. Another thing is a lot of companies use something called binaural beats because they're very popular and they were the first form of entrainment those many years ago. Binaural beats are really good for doing things like certain brain type testing. For instance, if the left and right hemispheres of the brain aren't communicating properly, a binaural beat program is one way of telling, because a binaural beat is simply one tone in one ear, another tone in another ear, and then your brain matches the difference in the two frequencies. If it's 5 hertz, then your brain will kind of create the sound of ba, 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 ba 5 times a second. But in order for proper entrainment to occur, you actually need the sound to occur outside your head so that it sends the electric impulse from your ear to your brain, which then creates and takes advantage of the frequency following response. So binaural beats really are very ineffective. If you wanted to compare it, you would say, for instance, we offer monaural and isochronic tones, which are far superior and much stronger. A binaural beat might sound something like this as far as strength. Ba, 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 ba. I don't even know if you could hear that or not.
Yeah,
if you could,
I can hear it.
That's the effect of a binaural beat as opposed to ba, 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 ba.
Okay.
You know, there's literally hundreds of times more effective. The effects of brainwave entrainment, when it's properly engineered, is dramatic. Binaural beats can give you disassociation, which is nice. It's relaxing. And certainly there's benefits to relaxing, but they're not to be confused with the types of benefits that you can get with entrainment, which are far, far reaching.
You know, I love this about you because you really, I mean, you know, we told everybody you actually are one of the very few certified brainwave entrainment engineers. And, you know, there was the Brazilian studies where, you know, things were, as you said, the science is real. I'd love to know what some of the, I know you have so many that it would be like, how could I choose? But you have a couple of testimonials that you could share with us just so that we get a feel for, you know, what people are experiencing from this. And I know that you said everybody's different, but just a few that you could share with us would be really great.
I'll try to pick some of the shorter ones because people tend to write me books. So here's just a few here. Okay, I can't say enough now about how the Morry method has changed my life. I have tried countless other methods, and I can honestly say that I have never witnessed anything like this one. It's fantastic and so incredibly easy to use. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next one. I have been using quantum mind power every day for the last month. I have had the program for quite some time and used it initially, but not consistently. Since focusing in and using it every day exactly the way the instructions are given, I have noticed a great movement and improvement in my mood. I have suffered depression for most of my adult life, and it's definitely improving. Just this week, I'm noticing that I'm accomplishing more with less stress. I just do what's next, and everything is working, and I'm completing tasks without overwhelm. Thanks, Morry. And I guess the last one here would be, recently I sat down with a friend of mine, and our conversation was just on general things we are doing in our particular lives. Soon it was quite evident to me that our interests and financial goals were very similar. Then it happened, flash after flash, and inspiration after inspiration. Before too long, I had come up with a business name, objectives, and a solid business plan. No matter what problems my friend put to me, I had the solutions. They just kept on flowing one by one. It wasn't until sometime after I realized the brilliance had come from the use of the quantum mind power system, which I had only started to use a week or so prior. Now the business is in place and life has never been better. All credit surely must go to Morry and his quantum mind power programs. Thank you, Morry. We are in your debt. Now, please remember that the credit goes to them. This is the hammer again. Okay.
Right. No, but that's amazing. It's good to hear what different people are seeing, and it sounds like they're getting results very quickly, as well as over long term, which, you know, I love that. I think that's so important. So I know you put together a special offer for everybody, so you're definitely going to want to stick here with us because the guided meditation is going to be fantastic. It's going to be the perfect way to sort of finish this call and go back into the rest of your day or night. So stick around for that, but everybody go ahead, click on the special offer button that's on this webpage, and we will take you right there. And Morry, if you can let us know what we'll find there, that would be great.
Sure. You'll actually find the program that I was reading some of the testimonials from. the quantum mind power system is a system that's essentially designed to give you what you need when you need it. That explains why people who write testimonials all have different things to say. These systems are specifically designed to give you what you need, not what I need or what I think you need, but what you need when you need it. So it consists of two main programs. The first program is called Neural Synergy, and this particular recording is specifically designed to help you to literally build new neural pathways. You can equate a neural pathway kind of like a road. Let's say a friend of yours invites you up to a cottage, and they tell you, take Highway 1 to Highway 2 to Highway 3 to Highway 4, and 3 miles later you'll be at our place. Well, that works fantastic until you get to Highway 2 and you find that it's closed because of an avalanche. Now you're lost. Well, Neural Synergy literally builds new roads for you to take and alternate roads, so it gives your brain more options. You'll find yourself probably being able to think better, to think faster, not to get upset as easily. You build new neural pathways, it gives you more options. We have a second recording, which I consider a main recording of the system as well. This one is called Eden Energy Wave Dynamics. And this one is designed to give you energy, but perhaps more importantly, it's designed to quiet the negative thinking patterns in your mind. So a lot of us don't take action because we talk ourselves out of it, or we're too nervous, or we're afraid of this or afraid of that. Eden Energy helps with that to a great deal by quieting the mind. This is actually the world's first audio entrainment program that is dual brainwave, which means the right hemisphere gets entrained to a separate frequency from the left hemisphere. What we're basically doing is we're taking the analytical side of your brain and we're making it very complacent and very relaxed. We're taking the more creative side of your brain and we're giving it a boost of energy. So it helps you to come up with solutions. It helps you to deal with things. It makes you more positive. It helps you to get through those tough times. Now, both of these systems, or both of these recordings, actually include different tones. There's 12 different varieties of each, and you pick the one that you like the best, because the one that you like the best is the one that will work the best for you. Entrainment works best when you like the tone. So that's why I give you a whole lot of choices with that. Now, the first two programs help to till the soil of your mind, if you will, and then fertilize it. But as we all know, if we were farmers in previous lives, you need good quality seeds as well. That is given to you by the next two recordings in our set, called the Whole Brain Gratitude Meditation and the Emotive Brainwave Hypnosis. Gratitude is beyond important. When we pay attention to things that we are grateful for, we end up getting more things. And this goes back to what I said earlier. It's what you focus on is what you notice and what you get. So the more gratitude you express for the people around you, for the things that are in your life, the more you will find to be grateful for. And that really starts a snowball effect going. The Emotive Brainwave Hypnosis is designed to help you balance your emotions. Too many of us, we get excited really quick and then we drop, or we get sad very quickly and we can't bounce back. Well, the Emotive Brainwave Hypnosis uses entrainment, as does the gratitude meditation, with words that will help you to learn a new way to act and react. And the entrainment acts like deepeners would in hypnosis and inductions, so it helps the messages to get through to your conscious and subconscious mind. We include subliminal recordings on wealth and prosperity, also health, because these are also very important. We have access to me. You can actually contact me personally, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. You're not getting a guy behind a desk in India. Not that India isn't a wonderful place, it is, but you're not getting someone anywhere else that's using my name. It's actually me that you will be getting answering your questions. And when you get to the page, you'll see a special offer there. A number of you will have the opportunity to get my phone number and talk to me personally with your issues or concerns and questions about the program. Now, we're also throwing in something really special. It's called Good Night Sleep Well. This recording takes you through the first 50 minutes, which is the longest part of your sleep cycle, the first sleep cycle you have. And it helps to train your sleep cycle back into that of a really healthy young adult. So no matter what age you are, You listen to this over a speaker quietly when you go to sleep, and you will eventually start developing a better sleep pattern, because we guide you through the first part of the sleep cycle, and then over time, your own sleep cycle picks up where the recording takes off. It's listened to very quietly and gently over a speaker when you go to sleep. We also give you something called the Schumann resonance, which many of you might be aware of as the magnetic field that surrounds the earth. And human beings have evolved in the presence of this field forever, literally. This particular frequency will help you to be very grounded when you feel like you're a little scattered and you need to be grounded. It's wonderful for that. We include an interview that I did way back when that will help you to further understand more about the program. A fantastic meditation called the Koi Carp Lake guided meditation. I take you to a nice private lake where I lead you and guide you into how to make better decisions in your life. You know, that turning right, turning left thing matters. And anything is possible. The future can be anything you want it to be, because when it gets here, it's the present. So you can make the present anything you want to make it, all right?
You know, I will tell you, I've been using this stuff for a while now, actually, and that's why I insisted on getting Morry onto the series to be able to share him with you, is because this is real and it has amazing benefit. And what I love about it is exactly what you said. It's whatever you need, not what someone else thinks you need. And I think it's amazing, Morry, by the way, that you give people access to you directly. That's a spectacular thing to do.
I only do what I'm told to do, so the universe tells me to do it, I do it.
That's perfect. Well, I love that. So seriously, everybody, I mean, the benefit that you can get from this is amazing. And, you know, I encourage you to go check it out. And now I'm going to ask you, Morry, if you can take us through that guided meditation.
Sure. Okay, I'd like everybody who's listening to please make themselves very comfortable. If you were sitting up taking notes or something, I'd like you to sit back, relax, preferably with some kind of head support, and just listen, but you don't have to think. If your mind wanders, that's fine. Let it wander. You will have this always. So right now, I would like you now to put your full attention into your breathing. As you inhale, allow yourself to feel the air moving in slowly. And as you exhale, allow yourself to feel it moving out. Continue to observe your breath moving in and out of your lungs, your mouth, your nose. As you focus your attention on your breath, notice now how it brings your attention to the present moment. Your body and your mind is continuously changing each moment. This change proves that anything can be possible next. Each experience, sound and smell, changes something within you. These changes cannot be altered until the next moment, the next now. Accept these changes and acknowledge the power of each moment, which brings these wonderful changes into your life. In reality, the only choice you have is to live in the present. Put now all the energy you have, all the enthusiasm you have, and enjoy it as much as you want. Now, fully surrender yourself to the flow of now and live each moment full of joy. Understand that now is all. When the past happened, it was now. When the future gets here, it will be now. The past is past. The future depends on how you live now. Keep breathing slowly and deeply. Observe your breath moving in and out. While you continue to do this, I would like you to consider one more thing. Everything always works out. And if it hasn't worked out yet, then it's not the end. Again, everything always works out in the end. And if it hasn't, then it's simply not the end. That's it.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I love that you were talking about the now, because it's so important for us to realize that this moment, this is it. This is now. So thank you for sharing that. Is there anything you want to share with us as sort of final parting words before we say goodbye to you today?
I just want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I guess if I had to say anything, just whatever your situation is, whoever's out there, wherever you're coming from, you're there now because you're there to learn something. And when you open up your mind and you open up your heart and you learn, you'll move forward and life will get better. And you'll have unique knowledge that you'll then be able to share with others to help them along their path.
I love that. What a fantastic, positive way to look at it, and it's so true. So, Morry, thank you so much. I know that people listening got so much from this, and you really are so special in how much you care about each and every one of us, and that comes through whenever you speak to anybody. So I appreciate that. I'm thrilled that you were here with us, and just thank you so much. And everybody else, keep manifesting your dreams. It is your power. As Morry said, it's all in you. You are the guru, and you're the only guru that you need.